Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is John, and I'm really happy you are here today. In this episode, I want to talk about traveling and cultural experiences. Traveling has always been one of my biggest passions because it's not just about seeing new places, but also about learning, growing, and connecting with people. Over the next few minutes, I'll share some of my own travel experiences, the lessons I've learned, and why I believe exploring different cultures is one of the best ways to understand the world. Why traveling is important. First of all, why do so many people love to travel? I think it's because traveling opens our minds. When we stay in one place for too long, life can sometimes feel a little repetitive. But when we travel, even small things, like walking on different streets, hearing another language, or trying a new dish, make us feel alive and curious again. Traveling reminds us that the world is so much bigger than our daily routines. Personal experience. Italy. Let me share one of my favorite travel memories. A couple of years ago, I went to Italy. Like many people, I had always dreamed of visiting Rome, Florence, and Venice. Of course, the architecture and the history were amazing. The Colosseum, the canals of Venice, the art in Florence. But what impressed me the most was the atmosphere. Italian culture is full of energy, passion, and joy. Every morning, people would gather in small cafes, standing at the bar, drinking their espresso quickly before starting the day. It was so different from the way I usually drink coffee at home. Slowly at the table. This small detail showed me how much culture can shape even the simplest things, like drinking coffee. Food as culture. Food is another important part of travel. When you try local dishes, it's like tasting the story of a country. In Italy, I had pizza that was completely different from the one I usually eat in my city. The ingredients were fresh, the flavors simple but powerful. It made me realize that food is not just about eating. It's about tradition, history, and identity. In Spain, I once tried paella during a festival. People were cooking it in giant pans, enough for dozens of people, and everyone was sharing and eating together. That moment wasn't only about the taste of the food, it was about the feeling of community. Festivals and traditions. Speaking of festivals, cultural celebrations are some of the most memorable experiences when traveling. In Spain, I joined a local festival where people were dancing and singing in the streets until late at night. Everyone was so full of life, and they welcomed strangers like old friends. In Turkey, I once visited during Ramadan, and I experienced the evening meal called iftar. Families and friends gathered together to break the fast, sharing food and conversation. Even though I was just a visitor, I was invited to join. That moment taught me how powerful hospitality can be, and how food and tradition bring people closer. Challenges of traveling. Of course, traveling is not always perfect. Sometimes you miss a train, get lost in a new city, or can't communicate because of the language barrier. I remember once in Germany, I took the wrong bus and ended up far from where I wanted to go. At first, I was frustrated, but then I met a kind woman who helped me find my way back, and we ended up talking for half an hour. That mistake turned into a special memory. These small challenges are part of the adventure. They teach us patience, flexibility, and problem solving. When you travel, you realize that not everything will go according to plan. And that's okay. Sometimes the best stories come from unexpected moments. Lessons from travel. Traveling also teaches us about ourselves. For example, before I started traveling, I thought I was not very confident. But when I went abroad alone for the first time, I discovered that I could take care of myself, find my way, and even make friends with strangers. Traveling gave me confidence and independence. It also made me more open-minded. When you see how people in other countries live, you realize that there is no single right way of doing things. Life can be lived in many different styles, and every culture has its own wisdom. Practical tips. If you are planning to travel, I have a few tips. First, learn some basic words in the local language. Even simple phrases like hello, thank you, and please can make people smile and feel respected. Second, try to eat where the locals eat. Instead of only going to tourist restaurants, explore smaller places where you can experience real local food. And finally, keep an open mind. Don't compare everything to your home country. Try to understand the culture on its own terms. Closing thoughts. So why is travel so special? Because it combines adventure, learning, and connection. You discover new places, but you also discover yourself. You learn about history, traditions, and daily life in other countries. And most importantly, you connect with people, even if you don't share the same language. I hope today's episode inspired you to travel more, or at least to dream about your next journey. Remember, you don't always need to go far away. Even exploring a nearby town can give you new experiences and a fresh perspective. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to share it with your friends. Until next time, keep traveling, keep learning, and keep discovering.